Grouped between them now were the players of the drama. One of the Warlockian witches, her gem body patterns glittering in the sunlight, was walking backward out of the sea. Her hands held palms together, breast high, in a Terran attitude of prayer. And following her something swam in the water, clearly not another of her own species, but her action suggested that by some invisible means she was drawing that water dweller after her. Waiting on shore were two others of her kind, viewing her actions with close attention, the attention of scholars for an instructor. Wyverns. Shan looked inquiringly at his companion. Thorvald added a whisper of explanation. A legend of Terra. They were supposed to have a snake's tail instead of hind legs, but the heads, they're wyverns. Wyverns? Shan liked the sound of that word. To his mind it well fitted the Warlockian witches. And the one they were watching in action continued her steady backward retreat, rolling her bemused captive out of the water. What emerged into the blaze of sunlight was one of those fork-tailed sea dwellers such as the Terrans had seen die after the storm. The thing crawled out of the shallows, its eyes focused in a blind stare on the praying hands of the wyvern. She halted, well up on the sand, when the body of her victim or prisoner, Shan was certain that the fork-tail was one or the other, was completely out of the water. Then, with lightning speed, she dropped her hands. Instantly, Forktail came to life. Fang jaws snapped. Aroused, the beast was the incarnation of evil rage. A rage which had a measure of intelligence to direct it into deadly action. And facing it, seemingly unarmed and defenseless, were the slender, fragile wyverns. Yet none of the small group of natives made any attempt to escape. Shan thought them suicidal in their indifference as Forktail, short legs sending the fine sand flying in a dust cloud, made a rush towards its enemies. The wyvern who had led the beast ashore did not move, but one of her companions swung up a hand, as if negligently waving the monster to a stop. Between her first two digits was a disk. Thorvald caught at Shan's arm. "See that? It's a copy of the one I had. It must be." They were too far away to be sure it was a duplicate, but it was coin-shaped and bone-white. And now the wyvern swung it back and forth in the metronome sweep. Forktail skidded to a stop, its head beginning, reluctantly at first, and then with increasing speed, to echo that left-right sweep. This wyvern had the sea beast under control, even as her companion had earlier held it. Chance dictated what happened next. As had her sister charmer, the wyvern began a backward withdrawal up the length of the beach, drawing the sea thing in her wake. They were very close to the foot of the drop above which the Terran stood fascinated. Then the sand betrayed the witch. Her foot slipped into a hole and she was thrown backward, her control disk spinning out of her fingers. At once, the monster she had charmed shot forth its head, snapped at that spinning trifle, and swallowed it. Then the forked tail hunched in a posture Shan had seen the wolverines use when they were about to spring. The weaponless wyvern was a prey, and both her companions were too far away to interfere. Why he moved he could not have explained. There was no reason for him to go to the aid of the Warlockian, one of the same breed who had ruled him against his will. But Shan sprang, landed in the sand on his hands and knees. The sea thing whipped around, undecided between two possible victims. Shan had his knife free, was on his feet, his eyes on the beast, knowing that he had appointed himself Dragon Slayer for no good reason. This concludes the reading of Chapter 14.